Thank you very much. Bon après-midi, Président du MEDEF, Monsieur Martin, Presidente di Confindustria, caro Emanuele, Hauptgeschäftsführerin des BDI, Frau Gönner, liebe Tanja, members and participants of this Trilateral Business Forum, thank you for the opportunity to address you today. Let me start by saying how important it is for the European Parliament to have these discussions with European industry. We are entering the fourth winter of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. We are seeing isolationism become more attractive and geopolitical divides deepening. We are seeing technology rapidly advancing, and the way global economic powers perceive their industries relative to ours shifting. Europe's place on the world stage is facing extraordinary pressure, and we cannot afford either to stand still or be squeezed. We must act. If there's one thing that I can take from all the speeches before mine is this: not just with an economic vision, but with a political willingness to learn, to adapt and to reform, because Europe's best day must lie ahead of us. Ladies and gentlemen, I am by nature an optimist, but I am here to speak today as a realist, and we know the challenges and we know what is required. We just need to find the right path to get there. I say this to give context to what I think needs to be our priority and focus over the next legislative cycle. To be clear, you will not find anyone more pro-European than the President of the European Parliament. But I think that a degree of self-critical analysis, of listening more, of changing course when needed, is precisely what will strengthen our European project in the long term and help us regain our competitive edge. When we talk about boosting Europe's competitiveness, productivity must be our starting point. Over the past decade, Europe's labour productivity grew by just 0.8% per year. This is not just a statistic, it is a wake-up call. With an ageing population and with fewer hands each year to drive our industries, even as we invest in the reskilling and upskilling of our people, improving productivity is not just an option, it is necessary. Now, the key to closing this gap lies in innovation, in predictability, and in ensuring profitability of our industries. It is our ticket to making up lost ground by accelerating our digital transition and investing in strategic sectors like clean tech, pharma, transport and semiconductors. By doing this, we can drive sustainable growth and future-proof our industries. European industry, and you tell me and you've told me, can only thrive in the right environment with the right framework. And that means smart and effective regulation. It means, yes, focusing on implementation, again, predictability, and not shifting the goalposts too often. Because too often we see well-intentioned policies unintentionally stifling progress, with heavy, excessive, and ever-changing reporting or compliance burdens often hitting our micro-enterprises and our SMEs the hardest. And I want the European Union to be known for its efficient regulation, rather than the red tape that we still see too much of. Now, as co-legislator, that's our role. The European Parliament has a key part to play in ensuring that predictable and simplified regulatory framework and faster access to funding. If there's one thing we learned, no matter where we were, as candidates for the European Parliament elections, it was this. We need smarter, more efficient, more predictable, more simple rules. Now here I will turn a little bit, however, the tables. We are, as I just said, the co-legislator. So I can talk for the Parliament, and I can tell you that we're going to do our best. But I need your help also to speak to your ministers, to your governments, because, and I'm glad to be able to say this in front of Antonio Tajani. Welcome, Antonio. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Thank you, dear President.
No, niente. È importante che stai qua quando dico questo, che sto dicendo adesso. So as I was saying, so we are the co-legislators, which means that we will need your help to also speak to the other side of the table, to the Council, to the ministers, to your heads of governments when taking the decisions on legislative instruments that you have mentioned. Now, over the past 2 weeks, we have held Commissioner-designate hearings, and the aim was last night, when we closed the process with the voting committees, to have a new Commission on the 1st of December. It was not easy, but the timing that we had envisaged will be the same like it was for 5 and 10 years ago. We are not later, we are not earlier, but we are on time. And the idea behind the scrutiny of these candidates is precisely to make sure that our plans, our platforms, what we were elected for, is implemented. We also know that energy costs are holding us back. This is a critical part of the puzzle that we must solve. EU companies face electricity costs up to 3 times higher than in other regions. This drives up production costs, it lowers margins, and it damages competitiveness. In the immediate term, we will need to do more to diversify our energy sources through predictable and reliable partnerships, knowing that we need to be predictable and reliable too. The situation across the Atlantic, and you have all mentioned it, has only made this more urgent to tackle quickly. And my view is that when we talk about energy, we need to do more than just progress. We need integration. A fully integrated European electricity market could reduce investment needs for storage and back up capacity by around 20 to 30%. By adopting common policies like the EU electricity market reform that the European Parliament voted on this year, we can create a system that we can all benefit from. And that is what true strategic autonomy would look like. Now, of course, none of this happens without funding. The European Union's multi-annual financial framework will expire in 2027. This gives us a critical opportunity to design a modern budget that is flexible, that is responsive to crises and aligned with the investments that we need. We are the budgetary authority, so we will play our part here, and we will recognise the importance of our part throughout the process. Now, public funding can take us far, but the reality is that this will not be enough. And that is why completing our savings and investments union is an urgent priority. It is how we are able to incentivise our companies to stay in Europe, to scale up in Europe. It is how we are able to mobilise private capital to invest in our priorities, and how we make it easier for the public sector to finance its share. And here, allow me a short moment to make a point on fragmentation of our markets. Simply put, this is our worst enemy. We see its consequences in the energy sector, in the banking sector, and in the capital market sector. But we also see it in other industries like telecoms and defence. Last year, we celebrated 30 years since the creation of our single market. The reality is we have 27 single markets. obstacles and challenges, of course, have never stopped. And the true test of this market has been and will always be how it is able to continue adapting. And we need to continue to ensure that this singularity, if you will, is able to deliver on its promise. And with the necessary political will, I am confident that it can, simply because, as you, Mr. Orsini, said, we are running out of time. Ladies and gentlemen, to conclude, the European Parliament has never been and is not afraid of change. If anything, we embrace it, because we understand the responsibility that we bear, not just to Europe's economy, but to every single person relying on it as well. I would like to assure you that in the next 5 years, the European Parliament will continue to focus on a Europe that serves its businesses, its industry, its families, its factories and its farmers. A Europe that defends European interests, that drives growth and ensures stability. A Europe that is ready for today's challenges and equipped for tomorrow's uncertainties. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.